Today, we find out which hand trap is the best in Photon Hypernova format. Let's dive into it. If you want 5% off any single or sealed product and want to support me and the channel, head over to tier0games.com and use code GALZO5 at checkout. How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we are going through all of the hand traps for the upcoming format, Photon Hypernova. We got Kashtira, Tier Limits, Sprite, Fluenderies, and hand traps, I gotta say, are back in fashion. Before we begin, make sure to leave a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you are new as always. If you want to support the channel even further and you enjoyed this content, click the join button below to learn how you can do that, become a member, get awesome perks, awesome badges. But we're going into the hand traps today. Hand traps have been sort of out of the format. We're going to put that right here so you don't see it, because last time you were mad that I put evenly matched as a hand trap. So it is still here. We're not going to put it into the list. Don't worry about it. Hand traps are going to come back a little bit. Last format we saw mainly like two things. We saw the Bestials and we saw Shifter. That was basically about it. But we are going into a new format where a lot of things are happening. Cards are being searched from the deck, and decks are not as consistent as they used to. And a lot of the decks rely on certain mechanics of the game in order to run their combo. So we're going to talk all about that, and we're just going to dive right into it. These are not ordered in any order, but I'm going to group them together based on their effects and stuff like that. We got Mourner. I'm going to put them here while I talk about it. About them. And if you haven't seen the last video, the ranking here for me is ineffective, unplayable cards. Low impact are gonna not give you as much value, even though they might be good in certain situations. Situational is like the absolute mid tier. These are mid cards that could be solid in certain situations, but maybe less in certain other situations. High impact are gonna be like your staples, but not like a must-have play. These are going to be high-impact cards that provide a lot of value given the format and the decks. And Goated is going to be the top tier. And the decks that I'm going to be referring to when talking about this is going to be Kashtira Tier Limits Ishizu, Fluenderies, and Sprite. These are going to be the 5 top decks of the format. Let's start off with Mourner. And I'm going to add Veiler here, Imperm, and I'm going to add Gamma. These all basically negate monster effects, and these are why they're grouped together, and also to keep the video flowing a little bit. Ghost Mourner and Veiler do kind of similar things. Monster negation is going to be important next format. Sending to the graveyard is going to be a problem. I took a long pause there, but with Arise Hard, Kashtira, Arise Hard, and Shifter, you're going to be locked out of your graveyard for a while. I think that Veiler and Mourner, I'm going to put Mourner actually above Veiler, and I'm going to keep them both at situational for now. I think that these are going to be cards that will perform as like solid cards. This also does damage, which is really good. And if you're dealing with big bodies on the board, it's really good. And these are both good because monster negation is going to be good. We have another card here called Infinite Impermanence. It's a negate. It does pretty much the same thing, but it's a good going second option. And 3 things actually. It doesn't care about the graveyard, and it's not a monster. And that, honestly, you might be shocked happening this early in the video, but it's goated. And it might be the best hand trap of the format currently, as we know it in the list. This card is going to be essential. I am expecting to see people playing 3 of this in the main deck. It has always been very good against tier limits because hitting the Kitkalos is just impactful, but there are going to be more options now. It is solid against things like Sprite, and it's very good against Kashtira because it's not that consistent and it needs to run the combo. It needs to activate monster effects in order to play. And telling you this from experience, if you imperm the big banishing guy, the Diablosis, their deck doesn't do a whole lot. They're not going to get the maximum payoff of their combo. So to be honest, and for like the last reason, by the way, if you saw the last video and you know what I think about triple tactic tasking, this card is not a monster, and it's super crucial that you don't activate monster effects during your turn. And this is how it's going to be. If you activate a monster effect, you risk your opponent searching a one-off card that is going to be super impactful against you. And it's going to be very risky to play around. Gamma is going to be I think it's going to stay right here. Monster negation is good, but it has a lot of conditions and it needs to run a brick. It doesn't really do that much against anything that is like very strong in this format. It doesn't get a lot of payoff, and I think it's going to be left here in situational. Cherries, unfortunately, is going to be low impact this format, and my last tier list also put it as low impact. You would think, Galzo, how is this possible? How is this card low impact? We have a tier 0 format. If you do this to Kit Kalos, it just, prevents tier from playing, basically. But in the new format, you have Kastura in play, and Kastura can actually bring its monsters back from being banished. So if you activate this against Kastura, then they can just bring everything back. It's not relevant. For some reason, people were not on this card consistently. This card was in a lot of side decks, so maybe it's actually not low impact. I mean, it's okay. So hear me out. It's gonna be solid because Kit Kalos. Okay, honestly, Kit Kalos, fine. The problem is Kastura. If you go against pure Kastura, this card does nothing. So is it even worth playing? Is it good against Sprite? You need to run Sprint in your deck. Do you want to do that? Do you have room even? And Flu, it's dead against Flu, basically. I'm going to keep it low impact for now. Let me know what you guys think about that. Dogwood is weird because time rules, okay? I'm going to put it in ineffective. No, actually not. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it low situational. Because it's situational. If you go into a big tournament and you're scared of time rules, yeah, you should be playing this card. It's not the best hand trap in the game. It doesn't pay off, but it can just win a game for free. So I'm going to put it low situational just because of the fact that it's 100% situational, basically. We got Bestials. You guys remember these? We got another one. We got a new one. This is Baldrake. It has similar effects as the banishing one, but it contributes a light or dark monster you control other than this card to target and banish one monster your opponent controls. What do we think about Bestials this upcoming format? Leave it down in the comment below. They're going to be much less effective during the next format. Okay, they're not going to be as good as playing a tier 0 format because it might not be a tier 0 format. It's still very good though. These two are going to stay in high impact. This one is going to move to situational, but it's going to be probably around here. And Saronir is going to be right here. I think Saronir is like the best in branded, Branded is getting support. We might see it in top tables. Who knows? Probably not. Hopefully Copium. Baldrake has an additional effect on the field that is very, very good. Okay? Very, very good. It's a good bestial monster. And then we have Druisworm and Magnamut, which are just insane, basically. Magnamut is obviously high impact at the top. And Druisworm, summon it, link it off next turn, send a card on the field like a monster. What? This card is absolutely busted. So I think we're going to keep it at that. I think Bestials are still going to be a thing. The problem is Kastura. These are dead in your hand if you're playing against Kastura. So unless they shifter you. So I think that we will have to see how the format actually evolves. But overall, I would expect Bestials to be played, but maybe a lower amount. But we'll see. Is the Rock coming back? I say yes. Sure, tier elements have a negate. Second summon, which is like preventing Nibiru at all costs. They have Rule Kalos, sure. But Kastura, if they don't play the adventure engine, this card might be viable. And I've been testing with it, and it's performing pretty good. People are not playing against Nibiru. If they will be, this card becomes less viable, but it's definitely somewhere around here at the moment for me. I think I'm going to put it at high impact currently because if Kastura doesn't end up playing Adventurer, and they might not be playing Adventurer, this card becomes much, much better. If you are playing against a tier-heavy format, this card might be situational at best. So I'm really contemplating here, but I think I'm going to put it here. It's just like right on the verge. It's right on the verge. I haven't I've given it thought before filming the video, but now I'm like having a hard time to decide just because tier. But if Kastura, just because it's a super anti-meta deck. It's just like the anti-tier. Just like that. Banish all cards from, everywhere. So maybe people will start playing that. And then Nibiru comes viable. So I'm going to put it like solid, top solid. Droll. Unfortunately, I think it's still going to be bad. Also, Shifter. Also, a Rise Heart. It needs to hit the graveyard as cost. It doesn't work. This card might surprise you. I think it's here. I think last time we did this, it was just like straight up ineffective. If you drop this against, Kashtira combo, they can't really play. They can't play. They can run their combo. They can banish cards, and it's offensive and defensive at the same time. I think this could be a side deck option. Definitely. And I think people might play it. The problem is we have this guy, or girl, which is Chaos Hunter, which is a little bit better because it stays on the field. And I think what it does better is protect you the next turn and the turn after that. While Lancia can actually stop the Kashtira combo because they have to banish, Chaos Hunter can do that just by staying on the field. And it's protected from Fenrir with its own effect. It's really good against Shufflers, and it's really good against Bestials. And I think it's going to be right here. And it might be, you will see this card in side decks, or main decks even. I guarantee it. This card is really, really good. So Chaos Hunter is going to be the better Lancia, but Lancia, it's not going to be low impact, because if you activate it in the right moment against the right deck, it's going to be effective to some degree. Meister, unfortunately, doesn't have a lot of room in this format. It's still a good card, but just doesn't have room. Orange Light is limited, so I guess it's a really good card. You would still play this with the Shizu tier, and I think it's still very good. So we're going to put it low, high impact for now. Kelbeck is like weird, obviously, because only one deck can basically play it. It is technically a hand trap, but it's a very good one at that. So we're going to keep it at low, high impact for now. And our boy is going to climb to the top once again. Think that Shifter is going to be played. You're going to see it with more decks right now. You only had Flu, maybe, last format. Now you're going to have Kashtira as well that don't care about the graveyard and just want to banish cards. This card is problematic. It needs some sort of hit in the future because it prevents so many things. It prevents a lot of cards on this list as well from just being played outright. And if you look at the board breaker tier list from a few days ago, you will see that it also prevents a lot of board breakers. Droplet, Slayer, stuff like that. It's technically a hand trap, and I think it's a goated one for now. It's super impactful, and if you're playing tier Shizu and you don't open this guy, then you definitely don't want to see this card in your opponent's hand, and it's going to be played. So I think it's going to be very, very effective and impactful during the next format. Ash, I think Ash is going to come back a bit. But now that I'm looking here, I think this maybe needs to change a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure what I feel about these four. But maybe it should be like this. Yeah, I think it should be like this. It's hard because we have a lot of situational, like, solid cards. It's solid. It's okay. Ash can hit some pretty powerful cards. It can hit Book of Eclipse. A few days ago, somebody played Book of Eclipse against me. I had like a full board, just ashed it. And it feels really good. It feels amazing. But there's not a lot of room in the top. And I think that, again, it's a good 1-for-1, but it's still a monster effect. And if it doesn't do a lot, then are you risking getting hit with tasking over this? I don't know. I think it's still pretty viable. I'm seeing some things here that I might change. We'll get to the end. We'll look at it again because I'm not as confident with this list. It's very, very hard to parse. Ogre. I think Ogre is going to be like here. It's still not very good, unfortunately. But if you think about it, it has some things going for it with a lot of field spells being played next format, if you think about it. So you have a lot of cards that this card can actually work against. It's good against Gigantic Sprite, right? Remember those days? It's good against any field spell. And if you look at the top 3 other decks, their starters are field spells. You have the map, you have the Paraisos, which is the new Kashira field spell, and you have Pillarino. Unfortunately, the reason why it's here is because against Flu it does a lot. Against Sprite, you might not have a chance to resolve it with the current state of Sprite. And against the other two, Kashira and Tyr, it's just not enough. It's just not enough to pop the field spell. So unfortunately, I think this is low impact. Bell is going to be... I think it's going to be here. I think it's going to be here because this is still a very strong card in this format. It's good against Tyr and it's good against Bestials, and these two are very, very strong. Can hit things like Kashira Birth as well to summon from the graveyard. That is a fact, and I think it's a very solid hand trap. DD Crow is... I mean, DD Crow is good, but who's going to play DD Crow when you have these 4? It's not a diss against DD Crow, but nobody's going to play it. And then the last one is Evenly Matched, which you guys said is not a hand trap, so it's going to stay down there and not going to be put into the list. And now I'm going to revisit the situational pile here. I think I'm good with the high impact stuff. And I think I might want to change this to be like that. This is going to be my final answer. Bestials are still good. They're still going to be good. We're going to see Kashira, Tier Elements being played together, and they're still going to be impactful, right? Saronir, maybe here. Chaos Hunter is a very good hand trap that you guys should consider playing, and Nibiru, depending on how the format moves, might be playable, and this is going to be like my little bet. I have a feeling that Kashira might not be played with Adventurer. And if that doesn't happen, this deck loses to Nibiru straight up. So we're going to have to see how the next format evolves. And I think this is going to be the list. Only 2 goated ones, which is interesting. But I really want to know what you guys think about this list in the comments below. What do you guys think about the hand trap situation going into Photon Hypernova? Really interested to hear that. Leave a comment down below. Leave a thumbs up on the video if you enjoyed it. And of course, subscribe if you're new as always. If you want to support the channel even further, click the join button below to learn how to become a member, get awesome perks, awesome rewards, awesome badges, everything you want down in the join button. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.